right, you're up.
All right, welcome back. This is Founders Friday with Eliel here. I'm Ryan. This is Derek, original founders of Eliel. We thought it'd be kind of fun to talk a little bit about like where this business has taken us.
Physically.
Physically, yeah. We've had this year it's our 10th anniversary. We've got a great schedule of events this year. We're definitely planning on getting out on the road a lot more, starting to travel for sales again. Coming out of COVID, everything was pretty much shut down for a long time. But man, before that happened, we had a lot of crazy adventures and
Together and apart.
Yeah, together and apart. Yeah. So I thought it'd be kind of fun. Let's just let's talk. Why don't you tell a few stories, Derek? Because you've gotten yourself into some crazy. You did some crazy stuff, especially those early days when you were just like showing up and you'd like fly to somewhere. I don't even think you had any appointments. You just show up and you would like try and figure something out, and then you'd meet people, and all of a sudden like you had 5 orders, and it was crazy.
5 orders, new friends.
New friends.
So in those early days, I would just pick cities that I knew had a cycling scene. I would try and do like some recon before I would go.
Well, you're going back to Austin, so
Austin. So Austin was the first city when it took us 18 months to get the factory going, and after 18 months, I'm like, okay, it's time to really get out and start traveling. So Austin, Portland were the first 2. Northern California, that whole Bay Area, those were the first. So I had a connection through an old roommate and friend who raced over in Europe. I'm like, hey, don't you have any friends in Austin? So he introduced me to somebody, met him at his house. I remember distinctly that he was
was that Mark?
Yeah, so through Mark.
Yeah, who worked with us at Sockeye.
Who worked with us at Sockeye, yeah.
And was my teammate, and did he stay with you too?
He raced a little bit at SDSU and was a roommate of mine.
He was on Swamis with us for a season.
We're not gonna do any videos about those stories. There were 5 of us living in a 2-bedroom house.
Yeah.
All cyclists. And so through him, I met, should I say his name? Can we say? Yeah, he probably wouldn't matter. Yeah, Ian Dilly in Austin, one of the, can I say, pillars of that community, just, works with kids in his community, part of the Super Squadra team, great guy. So I met Ian Dilly at his house and introducing him to the brand. He's like, well, this is what we're currently riding. And I remember him distinctly pulling stuff like out of his dryer, because he rides a lot, and he was doing a load of laundry, and got to know him a little bit. And long story short, we brought on Super Squadra. They liked our story, and we said, we want to make you guys, the face of us, face of our brand in Austin, which is, central to that huge state of cycling, right? At least that's where we started.
Yeah. Well, there's a great riding scene. I remember going out there for Sockeye.
And it fit our brand too.
Yeah, and meeting with some of the shops there, and great shop, great riding.
Yeah.
Just great community. I love Austin. Yeah. Such a cool place.
Yeah, so I'll be back there. Depending on when this video comes out, we're not supposed to talk about dates, but I'm gonna be back there January 6th through 8th. So I'm either gonna be there and I'll see you soon, or I had a great time in Austin, thank you. Depending on when this video comes out. So yeah, Austin is great. I'll be back up in NorCal sometime soon, obviously through the state of California, San Diego, up to Sacramento and beyond. Portland, Washington.
Because you laid the groundwork in Austin, those first few times, but then we actually did our very first Rider House event, and that was the idea behind the Rider House thing, was that we would go into a community, get an Airbnb, a bunch of us, and we were all, we had a lot of people that rode in the company at the time, right? So we'd show up with our bikes, and we basically meet up with Super Squadra. I think they took us for a ride. The first day we did that, we came in for 3 or 4 days, and just we did all the local rides. We were doing like 2 a days. We'd go on a morning ride, then we'd like rest or sell, in the afternoon. We had appointments with people, and then we'd go do the evening ride.
Yeah.
So, but that was after it. You went in when there was like nothing.
Yeah,
didn't you like post up at Mellow Johnny's and like?
Yeah, I would hang out at Mellow Johnny's. I would go to the Driveway Series, hang out there and drink beer with people. There was another crazy team. What was the team with the unicorns on there?
Oh, Super Awesome.
Super Awesome team. Super Awesome. If you go back, that's a
decade. They had some. You could go down a rabbit hole, find some of their videos online.
Yeah.
Some very weird stuff.
Yeah, but it's just such a great
super
scene
fun.
there. Yeah, but I love Austin. Can't wait to get back. I don't know. What about, and then, what?
Well, you just, I mean, like, so you laid those seeds. I mean, as soon as we had, a couple of those different teams, and, I think the word started to spread about, the gear, the quality of it and stuff, and then, brought on more people. But when we went out, for the Rider House event, then we already had a few groups there, and so, yeah, I mean, it's just super fun. I mean, that was, to me, like, that's probably one of the best things about what we do is that when we get to go do what we love, it's like, yeah, we're selling, but, we're showing up on rides. So we came out, that first day, I think, that we were out in Austin, we set up in the Airbnb, and then Super Squatter took us out on a ride. We were doing the driveway series that just ended because there was a hangover ride. And so we had some of the clubs invited us out to that ride. And so we did this hangover ride. And I mean, it was a freaking throwdown. It was a serious ride.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, I didn't know what we were getting into. And I took I had a new 3T gravel bike, the Exploro, right? And I had rode like the bigger but slicks but bigger tires. I showed up on the group ride on this thing. People are like, bro, what are you doing on that thing? Like, you know this is like a freaking race ride? And so we went out into the hills, in a totally different area than Super Squad took us, and I mean, it was freaking hilly as crap. And, I mean, it was hilly super hard.
Out
super
east,
hard.
right?
Yeah. But we were in there just having fun, and our crew, like, we all know how to ride, so we were hanging. I mean, we weren't winning anything, but we weren't getting dropped either, right? So and people were just like, so they were just like, oh man, this is great. And so you start talking to somebody, right? Why are you guys here? Oh, hey, dude, we're from Eliel. They're like, oh man, okay, yeah, and, tell me about your stuff or whatever.
Right.
And then actually, what was funny about that, like, so we basically got back into town. It's already getting dark. We ride across the city, and we ended up at I don't even know what the name of the place was, but we ended up at some bar that was like a cycling bar. Like, we came in and we put our bikes up on the frickin', on the wall on these hooks, had a whole wall there.
Right.
And then everyone's hanging out in their Lycra, just having a drink. And we were there for like, I don't know, like, we didn't get out of there till close to midnight.
Right.
Because I remember getting out, and then we I didn't know where we were, right? And so a bunch of the guys were like, oh dude, we'll ride you home. We'll ride you across town. Like, okay, cool. So, we had a pack of us, and we rode across in the freaking one, I don't know, midnight or something, back to the Airbnb. And then there was this one team that wanted to know all about the gear.
At midnight.
So we come in, it's like 12:30.
Yeah.
And Brant was with us at the time, and he's like showing these guys the gear at like 12:30. And I'm like, we gotta kick these guys out of here, man. Like, we gotta ride at like, we were meeting another ride at like 6:37 in the morning.
Yeah. I love that town. It's so rider friendly, riding through the middle of the night and whatnot. But it's young, it's hip, great scene.
Great
There's
music,
it's just constantly
food,
developing. Music. Yeah, I've been peeking in, and I see things like the Breakfast Club ride, and all these new some of the teams are still around, and there's new teams forming. So
things are always ebbing and flowing. Some teams come, teams go, but really cool. I mean, just a great community. I mean, it's been a while since I've been. I mean, kind of dying to go back. That's actually where I was introduced to Topo Chico that I'm now addicted to.
Ooh.
That's Brant's fault. But yeah, it's first time drinking Topo Chico. Now I can't live without it.
It's just coffee for me.
Yeah.
What's another good spot you like to travel to?
Oh man, so we had, I don't know, I can't even tell all the stories. I'll tell one more just so we don't, go too crazy on this episode. But I think it was the summer of 2019. This was definitely before COVID, but we had we were trying to set up a bunch of Rider House trips, and for some reason, things happened and got delayed or whatever it was. We ended up doing one massive trip in the summer. We were on the road for 3 weeks.
Whoa.
Yeah, this is you remember this. So it was Jordan, Toffer, Jamie, and Jamie's wife Courtney, I think, joined us at times. She kind of flew in and out a couple times, but basically, man, we got in the van and we went to San Francisco. Then we stopped at my parents' place in Portland just to stay, but then we went to Vancouver, BC. It was my first time in Vancouver.
I love Vancouver.
Oh my God, hanging with the Beachy Cleta guys, with Graham and the boys.
Yeah.
Super fun. We had such a good time.
Yeah.
And then back to Portland, then we did 3 or 4 days in Portland. And I was with Speedwagon, and our buddy Joel, our ambassador Joel Fletcher was up there too, so we did a bunch of cool rides that they organized for us.
Right.
And then we went out to Boulder, where Jamie actually grew up, and parents still live there, and so and Jordan's dad, had moved out there, and so we did a bunch of events, reconnected with my old, one of my old cycling coaches, Jeff Winkler, out there, which was always fun, and Jordan's dad took us out for some rides, and a bunch of the crew out there. So
you mentioned Vancouver, BC. So I have a funny story about that. So
you're the one that turned me on to that.
Vancouver.
You and my old friend Nick were like, dude, that city is like amazing.
If I could own a house in another city, and I really don't want to own another house because one is enough, it would be in Vancouver. It's just unbelievable. Yeah. But I went up there. This was a non-Eliel trip, so I'm gonna diverge a little bit. But I invited Mark Ledbetter, my best friend, who's not here anymore, and he's like, "Yeah, dude, I'll meet you there." So we're staying at this hotel on the Burrard Avenue, I believe it is, called the Burrard, and they had I want to call them mama cherry bikes, but that's a Japanese phrase because I used to work in Japan. All these bikes that people get around, it's got the little basket on the front, and it's called basically the mama chariot, right? Mama cherry. But they had these bikes at the hotel that you could ride around town. So we rode around town all day, and I made some business calls, and I went to La Bicicleta, and what was that cafe?
Musette Cafe.
Musette Cafe.
Oh.
I hung out there all day.
I hear it's not there anymore.
I don't think it's there anymore. So
such a cool place, man.
So that gentleman was friends with Rigoberto Urán at the time, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I've got this friend who's a pro," and and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." Well, anyways, we're riding around town, and we're on the park in the middle of town there. And
which there's a bunch of cycling rides and group rides that go around.
They do a bunch of loops, right?
Yeah. And Bicicleta does a weekly ride there, which is super cool actually, because they're like teaching new riders, and they do a certain amount of laps. I think there's like different levels you can do. And they come out, they bring all their ambassadors out to lead it. It's super fun.
Yeah, so we knew the group ride was going on. So I'm like, "Hey Mark, let's go see if we can find this group ride just to catch up with friends."
Wait, were you on the bikes?
Yeah, so we're on the bikes behind this road group. It's probably like 40 guys, and Rigoberto and the owner of Musette, whose name escapes me right now, a super nice guy. Rigoberto does this total double take. Like, what are you doing? And I'm in the back there. I look like the Wicked Witch of the East on the bike, and Mark's like trying to keep up, and we're just like spinning on these single speed bikes, and I'll just never forget the look. And they were just cracking.
He's like, "Dude, we better start attacking, man. We gotta get rid of these."
I think he went straight to the front. That guy.
Probably, dude. Yeah. He's like, "Dude, you're gonna crash me out of the I'm getting ready for the tour or something."
He knew I was fit. Anyways, he gave me respect. He's like, "Good job."
You could tell the skills with the
Yeah, I was like, I'm hanging.
The 150 RPMs.
They were not going all that slow. I'm like, I can get them. So, but yeah, Vancouver, great spot. That's probably Austin, Portland, Vancouver. Got to be my top 3.
Yeah.
Top 3.
Well, dude, you're DC. There's a lot of other places that you got to talk. I mean,
great.
DC, dude, we've had so much fun in DC.
DC.
There's a whole bunch of other stories there, but since we're on Vancouver though, so yeah, we went up there, and I think we did. I mean, we did a gravel ride. I remember we went, oh man, someplace in north of the city. I think it was across the river on the north side, and we did this beautiful ride. It was just in a forest. There was a lake. I mean, it was just
so different.
A couple of the guys, one of the managers, and then Graham took us out, and oh yeah, super fun ride.
Right.
Then we did another one out of there. They had a shop like again across the river, the base of there's a ski resort, and so we did this massive climb. It was like an evening thing from the shop. We went out, just climbed straight up this freaking mountain. The views of the city from over there were just amazing.
Oh, that's cool.
Just super cool.
Yeah.
That was amazing. The park, is it Forest Park?
I don't know. I mean, my wife's
right there. So we did a little photo shoot because we were riding through the park doing some gravel stuff. On the gravel bikes through there. But then they did that group ride around there. Mm-hmm. But then I remember coming back and we're just riding, and again, we're seeing the city by bike, right? Yeah. I mean, so we're just riding all over. We had an Airbnb somewhere, but we barely drove anywhere.
Yeah.
I think we were riding everywhere. And so I remember riding along it was summertime and riding along the waterfront. Mm-hmm. And I just remember everybody out, just groups of friends, families and stuff, picnicking, doing there's people just having a drink after work. I mean, it's just super cool, and people playing games all on this great waterfront, and people riding through on bikes and everything. It was just oh man, this is such a cool city.
I have to say though, so if I'm gonna add 2 more. So I have my top 3.
Dude, are we getting paid by the city of Vancouver, by the way, for the plug?
Yeah, there's got to be like a travel
City of
bureau.
Vancouver, if you want to sponsor this podcast, are we doing sponsors yet? I don't know.
Is Trudeau going to allow that?
What's that?
That guy's clamping down on everything. Yeah. But okay, so top
That's
five.
that's a whole different story, man.
You're talking East Coast. So Miami. I spent some time in Miami.
Oh yeah,
great city. Want to get back there.
We did a Rider House there too.
Yeah.
Later days.
And then the other one, Philadelphia. There was a gentleman named Derek Green, and him and his wife just unbelievable hospitality. We went back for the Philadelphia Bike Show, which was rad, and they took us out to dinner, took us to this local ice cream spot. They're like, you cannot leave town without going to this ice cream spot. And then we saw the Rocky Stairs, and super rad.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just everywhere we go, there's just great people, and I can see the faces and not remember the names from people in Miami, Vancouver,
But how many times have you traveled? And you've met people that you don't even know, right? They're just in the cycling community, and then they take you in, and it's like
all the time.
They show you around. They take tell you the spots. They tell you half the time they'll go with you to a restaurant, take you to the cool spot or whatever it is. It's such a great community.
I mean, just like I feel about our hometown, and I want to show people around. The people in Austin, Philly, Miami, they're proud of that scene, and they want to bring people in and be like, hey dude, check it out. I've never been.
And if you show appreciation for it, we're passionate about it, so if they know that you're, then they're just like, they just open up and they want to, we got to do this ride and we got to go here.
Oh yeah. The only problem I ever had though was in Miami. It's so flat there that they'll do like 100 miles without thinking about it. Oh yeah, I did 100 miles yesterday. I'm like, 100 miles? Because there's
a climb coming up. It's an overpass.
There's no climb. But in the early days when we were starting this company, fitness would come and go because we weren't able to ride that much. And I remember I got to like mile 50 on this ride. I'm like, there was some guy, I'm like, dude, I need to eat right now. And some guy I didn't know was like, here, dude, follow me. And he like took me to, a coffee shop, and I was just like downing everything. I'm like, I'll have every one of those pastries and I need a coffee. And that guy, basically took care of me. He's like, okay, they're gonna, hit the turnaround and then we'll catch them on the way back. I didn't know this guy from Adam. Yeah. And but I was a fellow cyclist, and
dude, you knew you were from out of town. Like, that's what happens. People take care of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So super cool.
Yeah. All good memories.
We should make this a regular segment because we could probably tell. I've got. I don't know how many stories, but there's a lot. So many cool areas and places that we've been. People.
Portland. Yeah. I used to stay with your parents in Portland. Yeah. That was always fun. There's a family connection there. Yeah. I was telling Ryan I had a meeting at the Smithsonian. It was one of our clients was buying clothing. That's right. Yeah. So all those different little things, and me growing up in Chicago, I've got some. There's a guy that wears Eliel gear that I know from high school. It's a long time. Yeah. So, and I saw him at my high school reunion. He didn't actually go to my high school, but I was back in town, a year ago. And I was like, hey, Clint, high school reunion. If you want to crash the party, and
so not only is it our 10th anniversary, but you and I both turning 50.
Yep.
Next year, January and February. Like, how many people do we know? Friends and from the community that we still, have known all these years later.
And we don't age. Crazy. We don't age.
And we never age. No. We're good. Well, let's stay on clean living, bike riding. But anyways. Great community, but we should come back. We should cut it, and then we should make this a regular thing. There's so many more stories.
Well, I'm looking forward to sharing more stories.
Yep. Making more this year.
Yeah, making more. Right. Making more stories. I'll come back from Austin with
first event. Is Rock Cobbler is probably our first official event in February.
I can't wait.
A week before my birthday.
Right.
And we can talk a lot about that because Sam Ames is and now our buddy Steve is involved with Sam putting on that event. And I remember doing it when it was first going, and now it's it's a pretty big event. They're getting they paid this bull to hit this guy so they could get all this publicity on YouTube.
Wait, what? The balls?
No, the bull that some rider ran into.
Oh, the bull, right? Yes, I heard about that. Oh,
no, I don't think they actually paid the bull.
Did we go to the first Rock Cobbler? We made those green jerseys. Was that their first one?
I don't know if it was the first because I think they were probably doing it like totally underground local there. But yeah, I mean, we're pretty early on. Like we've been going up there for quite a while.
Before the whole like gravel scene like really went crazy. I was like, what is this event?
If this comes out before Rock Cobbler, it's probably sold out already. But you guys should definitely put it on your list. Freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Something totally different. Like nothing out there like Rock Cobbler. And you would think like Bakersfield, they're like, what's in Bakersfield, right?
Yeah.
And it is absolutely in the springtime at Bakersfield. Well,
okay, so number one, Sam is a great guy, right? Loves the cycling community, so that's why that event is unique in and amongst.
Oh, totally.
Even the
and
gravel.
Sam's he's got a few screws in his too, man.
So now that I think about it, so the first time we went there, we stayed at a hotel with an electric bull. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
So
I don't know. That wasn't the first time, but no, it had to have been pretty early because you were there. It was within the first 3 years.
So you guys talked me into getting on the electric bull, and I'm like, this is not happening. But I remember wearing some like little hat. You had to wear a hat. Oh, you totally did. And then I could feel it ramp up, and I just like fell off, and I'm like, I'm gonna get injured because there were people that were hanging on. There was some old lady in front of us.
I wouldn't get on that thing because I'm like, dude, I gotta ride the event the next day.
I just dove off. I'm like, I'm done.
I'm like, I'm gonna freaking tweak my back on this thing and be like an idiot. I'm like, no way.
Yeah.
But that was a total Bakersfield moment.
And I remember the music there being horrible. Do you remember that now? These memories come flooding back.
What were they playing?
Like some really bad hip hop in a country bar.
Hip hop in a country bar?
Or bad rap. It wasn't even 10 years ago.
Oh jeez.
It was not good, and we were just like, this DJ's gonna get hung.
Yeah, that was and Sam sent us to that place.
Yeah,
He's the one that he recommended.
That was the event hotel.
Oh, it was,
it was great. Yeah.
Oh my God. All right. Well, we'll talk more about Rock Cobbler. We'll have some stories after the event for sure.
Yeah.
But there's many more. But
all right. Cool.
All right.
Thanks for joining us on this Friday. Hope you get out and have a great weekend. And Ryan and Derek.
Until next time.
See ya.